So on tonight's winner circle call, I've got a fun topic here. And obviously the goal of these is for you to get off of this with a clear head and excited and motivated to continue to grow, not just in your business, folks. There's a lot more to life and to this business than just sales and money. I know a lot of you are like, yeah, well, right now I'm just trying to get my first 10 deals. So it's all about sales and money. And I get that, but you got to have the mindset to even take on the first hurdles, especially if you're going to do this long term. And I was thinking about this. I added this in here at the last second. I was scrambling around, trying to find some images to throw this in there. Because at the end of the day, this is what the winner circle is really about. It's just like a seed, right? We all have potential. We all have stuff within us that sometimes is maximized and used to its full potential, and sometimes it's not. And a lot of us are new to the business, and I know that. And you're just trying to get started, right? Right now you're a seedling. So you're showing up to webinars, you're doing the little things, and you want to develop this business and you want to grow, and you understand it comes in stages, and you're willing to do the work. But what I find out a lot of the time as you deal with lots and lots of different people is some people are this great seed that could grow, that has the potential, but they're not surrounding themselves with the right environment. They're not really putting themselves in a position to be able to mature and to grow, right? So we could take a seed that's ready to go, grown by or given to us by the right people, by a farmer. And if we just dump them out, if you're just a seed that's sitting on this wood or on this piece of table right here, you have the potential. But if you don't put yourself in the right environment, if you just sit on that table rather than get planted into the soil in the right environment and weather and water, you're not going to nothing's going to happen, right? Even though that seed has the potential, you have to put yourself in the right position to be able to grow, right? Which in this business, the first thing is, taking action. I'm not going to get into the sales side of it, but potential is not enough. Okay. You have to put yourself in the right environment. And then we have a lot of people that they come in and they get so busy, right? These are the analytical people that want to know everything and they're watching every single video. And I'll get, I'll start working once I know everything and watch the training videos 7 more times by next Monday, then I'll actually feel comfortable and I'll be ready to go. Right. So can you flood a seed? Yes, you can flood your seed as well. Even if you do break ground, you start to grow. But if you're a seedling, it's all about the right environment. It's all about the right atmosphere. It's about allowing yourself to grow through the proper stages. And it's about plugging in and communicating in terms of this business. In terms of your life and just mindset in general, put yourself in the right position and think about just as a seed. If you're doing things at the right pace, at the right speed, are you flooding your garden? Are you putting too much in? Are you sitting on the concrete or on a piece of wood just saying, I know I've got it, but I'll get started next week, right? That's a perfectly good seed, not putting itself in position to be able to grow and get started. But if you do these things right, if you have the mindset, and this is what the winner circle call is all about, this is what I'm getting at, is we want to help people develop. It's not just about sales. It's not just about money. It's about the mindset so that you can grow into what you are meant to be at some point. That could take a year. That could take a whole lifetime. I guarantee it's going to take a whole lifetime because we're always constantly growing. So these calls are so important to me because if I can help people with sales, that's great. If I can help people own their life, that's great. But when you own your life and it's the right person and you're a contributor and you're going to pay it forward and give it back to others, and we do that with the right people, and we're building our company with the right people, we want to see people grow into these big, beautiful, well-established, deep roots, strong, what is this, a redwood tree that is going to withstand the battles and the struggles and the things that life throw at us. Because what this call is all about is problems. That's what we're going to get into. And no matter where we're at, we've got people that are vets in the industry. We've got people that are brand new. We've got people on this call that are over 70 years old. We've got people that are under 20 years old. And no matter what stage you are at, either in your business or in life, we all can grow. And as soon as you stop believing that there's room for growth, you're dying, right? If you ain't growing, you're dying. So no matter where you are right now, I'm excited that you chose to get on to this call in the evening, no matter where you at, wherever you are in America. I think that's freaking awesome. And those are the right people that we want to work with. So tonight's call, the topic is problems. So if you have problems in your life, then this is going to be applicable to you. So I think that's just about everybody here. So this is so important here as I'm talking with people within the team and my mentors and stuff like that. This is something that we talk a lot about: good problems and bad problems, right? Most people don't really think about this. You hear problems and it's got this negative connotation, but I don't believe problems are bad. I think that bad problems are bad. Kind of like debt, right? There's good debt and there's bad debt. Good debt makes you rich, bad debt makes you poor. There's good problems and there's bad problems. Good problems focus on growth, bad problems bring you down. Okay, so let's talk about those. So good problems, growth and production. So with my mentors, we talk about the next problems that we want to create, right? For example, needing more infrastructure in place to handle the influx of reps. Okay, that's a good problem. That means you're growing. Or there's more residuals going out every single month. We don't take on investors and the growth is just booming, right? Good problem to have. That means growth, that means production. So good problems are the things that you want in your life. You want to focus on good problems, and you have bad problems. Bad problems keep you sitting idle. Bad problems keep you thinking small. Okay, so the winners intentionally create good problems. To be honest with you, good problems are kind of like goals. As I go through my goals, I literally have them right here on my desk, right next to me. And they're not all worded in the forms of problems, but some of them are. I've got some things on my goals that literally, as I was creating this, I was like, good problems are kind of like goals, right? These are the things that it's the next hurdle that you want to have to overcome because you're growing. Bad problems are things that other people avoid. You ever notice that people that want to completely avoid problems altogether end up with the worst problems of them all, right? So for example, somebody wants to avoid sales, or they're scared to go all in with Easy Pay or all in on their business because what if they could go broke? What if they don't make money? So in order to avoid not making money in a 1099 commission only sales position, they go and barely make enough money their whole life, right? That's a bad problem. So in order to avoid a good problem, they let life create bad problems for them. And then they're stuck with this laundry list of problems that they don't have, they didn't intend to get put there because they didn't create their problems. They let life put them. And I think that how we look at problems are going to determine the direction of our entire life. Some of the things that we think are problems with the right perspective aren't problems at all, right? They're opportunities. They're things that are designed, that were given to us. They're gifts to us to grow. And I think it is so critical to understand that, and as we go through this, there's some problems that are completely out of control, but there's so many problems in our life that we look at with this negative connotation. With the right perspective, you would realize there's a lot of room for growth here. I can grow, I can advance, I can get ahead, but I got to have the right perspective. I got to be looking through the right paradigm at my problems, because most of them, if you break it down, are really obstacles for you to have opportunities to grow. Okay, other people see problems as excuses. They're reasons why they can't do stuff. All right, 2020 was COVID. It is the perfect example of opportunity. A lot of people blew their businesses up. They looked at 2020 as, oh my gosh, people need the cash discount program more than ever. People are going to want this more than ever. Everyone that said no before now is going to say yes. People need me more than I already felt like they did. And they looked at last year through that perspective. So what do you think life delivered to them? It delivered opportunity. It delivered growth. It delivered all the things that come along with good problems. because they attacked it. Then you have other people with the exact same environment, could be in the same city, the same state, the same lockdowns, the same everything, and they saw problems. So, well, nobody's open. Well, I can't get out and I can't talk to anybody. Oh, nobody wants to talk to somebody wearing a mask. And they find every reason through this problem, through this bad problem, to quit or to not go to work. And then we can have a conversation. A lot of these people have, come back and they sent emails and like, can we come back and this and that? I'm like, well, if you couldn't handle that problem, how are you going to handle the next problem? Because the opportunity never left. The opportunity's been there the whole time. But the whole point here is it's all about your perspective. And that's just one example, right? There's things all in your life that are good problems that you might be interpreting as bad. So let's talk about, I made a little list here, right? So install issues. I talk with a lot of people. They're having install issues. And they get really frustrated. And I understand, like, you just want to go in, you want to plug in the point of sale, or you want to plug in a terminal and it's done and you're on your way and you're off prospecting for new business. I get that, obviously. But in the meantime, if you're having install issues, there's a lot of people out there that don't have any installs to do. So if you find yourself with a bunch of installs or you're calling in, you have to call tech support because something's going on and Wi-Fi is not connecting or this or that. I understand that's not perfect, but life doesn't work out perfectly all the time. And the truth is you have a good problem on your hands. There's a lot of people that would love to be doing an install that are looking to sign their first couple of deals, folks. So if you find yourself in that position, again, it's just perspective. By the way, off topic, that's a great opportunity for awesome customer service. It gives you more time with that merchant. You're re-solidifying how great of a rep you are. And you told them, if you sign up with me, I'm going to be your person and take care of you. And you show up and there's an issue and you do, you stay, you take care of them. They get to see how good support is. By the time you leave, it maybe took an extra 30 minutes, but by the time you leave, that account is now more solid. If you look at it as a positive and look at it as a good problem versus a bad problem, which is somebody like, I wish I had a terminal to install, right? Okay, pipeline too full, no time to prospect. Believe it or not, I'll talk with people like, hey, how's your day going? How many targets did you get today at the end of the day? Like, they'll sound a little bummed. Like, I didn't have too much time. I got this deal turned in, but I didn't have time to go get my 3 to 7 targets today because I was going back. I had some appointments. Like someone like literally that signed a deal that is a little down because they didn't have time to go prospect new doors. Again, you had pipeline, you had appointments, you had people to go back and talk to. That is a positive thing rather than someone who's like, I wish I had someone to go back and talk to, or somebody that doesn't have any follow-up and no action other than prospecting. I'm all about prospecting, but you do want to have some stuff going on that keeps you busy and appointments to go back to and things to go back and finalize, right? These are good problems versus bad problems. 2 people need to meet at the same time. I love this one. This reminds me of Grant Cardone's 10X. I don't know who's listened to 10X by Grant Cardone, but that actually, he brought that up. He had an appointment in this town and the person he was trying to meet with said, hey, can you meet, Tuesday at 5:00? And he already had something scheduled. He just said, yeah, I'll be there. And he'll figure it out later, right? Same thing here. When you have multiple people that want to see you and it has to be at the same time, that's a good problem. That's a great problem. The alternative is nobody wants to meet with you. There's no one for you to see. Less time with family temporarily. This is where it starts getting into, this business and the long-term picture of it. Okay, let me tell you a story. When my son was being born, my wife moved up from Mexico and our son was on the way and we lost our residuals from the first business we worked with. Okay. Big learning lesson. The first 3.5, 4 years in this industry, I lost my book of business, meaning I lost my residuals overnight. I was poor again. We were sleeping on air mattresses and we had cardboard boxes. And I moved her. She had just came from Mexico and we went from Daytona, Florida over to Los Angeles. I said, I got to get to frickin' work. Okay. And for the first 3 years of my son Joey's life, he's now 9, he just turned 9. But for the first 3 years of my son's life, I was on the road probably for 2 of them. And that was hard. It's even hard to say that, but I knew that less time with them now was a temporary thing. And that was a good problem that was going to come back later versus less time with my family permanently. A lot of people may not be 2 out of 3 years, but they miss the weekends. They miss their son's soccer game. They're missing their daughter's ballet. They're missing the tennis. They're missing the singing recital. They're missing the piano. They miss a lot of things because they have to trade their time for money, which is a whole nother subject. But less time. If you got to do whatever you have to do, you found a vehicle. The good problem here is that it's temporary versus permanent. Okay. I have to work hard, but have a future. Goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about. How many people have to work hard anyways, but they don't have a future lined up for them in a couple of years that's gonna be freedom, right? So it is a good problem that you're gonna have to go out there and bust your butt. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be very hard. But the bad problem on the other side of that is you have to bust your butt. You have to work hard. You have to work really hard anyways. Right? We're all out there working hard to try to make ends meet. The good problem here is that at least you're doing it for a future versus having to do it till you're 67 and a half and retire on Social Security, and you still don't have a lot of time with your family. Struggle, but with a mission and a plan. This is a great problem. So when I call this the suck, right? If you read If I Lost It All Today, I've got a chapter in there called Get Through the Suck. Every single person I know that does extremely, extremely well in this business went through the suck. They went through that struggle, but they went through it with a purpose. You went through it with a mission, with a plan. This is, again, temporary. You can struggle temporarily because of this vehicle, while the rest of the world, they're struggling for the most part anyways, right? There's people that may have a really high paying job, but the average person out there, they're struggling anyways, but they don't actually have that plan, right? One is temporary, one is permanent. It's kind of like broke and poor, right? What's the difference of broke and poor? Broke is temporary, poor is forever. Why? Because of the mindset of it. So when you're out there and you're working really hard and you're struggling, just remember that you have a vehicle that turns that struggle and turns that hard work into a good problem. And there's a lot of people out there that are struggling and working hard, but they don't actually have a vision of the future of freedom, of financial freedom, of more time with their family and loved ones and whatever they want to do. So when you find yourself struggling, when you find yourself like, man, this is hard, just think about the positive, the good problem behind that. Because of the vehicle, because of the industry, because of the company that you found, it is actually a positive thing. Again, it's all about the perspective and how you look at it. Too excited to sleep? I love this one. I get really jacked up. People think I'm like always hyped up on rock stars and coffee. Like I don't have to do rock stars. I'm generally really excited 95% of the time. There's always some project. There's always something. When I was out in the field, if you have this awesome appointment in the morning that you're going back to and you're calculating the residuals, like, oh my gosh, if I close this deal, that's $700, I can make $700 a month, and you're excited. It's good. That's a good problem. What a bad problem is you're getting 10 hours of sleep. You're getting too much sleep. You don't have anything exciting going on in your life. You're just lazy, sleeping too much. You want things in your life that you're excited about. And I'm not saying every night you shouldn't get good night's rest, but I am saying you should have things that you're excited about. And every now and then, like, you remember when you were a kid and Christmas was in the morning and you've been waiting all year and you couldn't get to sleep and all you wanted to do was sleep so you'd wake up sooner and open your presents? Like, you want things exciting in your life. So if you're not getting sleep because you're excited, I definitely look at that as a huge good problem versus too much sleep. Sleep's overrated, folks. Only 24 hours in a day. You have so much productivity and activity to manage. If you've seen that lesson, productivity versus activity, it's amazing when you're busy how fast the day goes by. Right? We've all had that. We've all had a day, especially if you have kids. You wake up, drop the kids off at the bus or drop them off at school. I reference kids because I have 3. So, you get the kids to school. you get off and you come home, you got productivity, you're out in the field, you're making your calls, you're running appointments, you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. You look up and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. That was already 7 hours, right? That's from being busy. That's from having stuff to do. You're being productive. You have activities going on that you're looking after and managing in your business. And if you find yourself just like there's not enough hours in the day, that is a good problem versus people that don't have shit to do, right? There's people literally just sitting around watching TV 7 nights a week and on their phone way too much, paying attention to stuff that doesn't matter. So if you find yourself just like ending a lot of nights, I don't want to encourage you to overload yourself, but it's impossible for me to get my to-do list done. It's impossible. By the time I get anywhere close to halfway through, I add another half. There's just always productivity. There's always activity to do. That's a good thing. Again, good problems equal growth and production. You're growing. Bad problems mean you're not growing, AKA you're dying, right? So if you find yourself with too much time, I'm from Washington State. I've got a lot of family in Spokane, Washington, and I've always loved the Zags. That's always been my team. I grew up in Seattle, but more than the Huskies and more than Wazoo Cougars, I've always liked the Zags. My dad lived in Spokane. I still have a brother who's a firefighter in Spokane. My dad's buried in Spokane. I have a lot of ties to Spokane. I didn't know that the Zags, that the college championship game was tonight, and I did not know that the Zags made it. I found out through a sales partner. If you're on here, thank you. I did hit record on the DVD because I actually want to watch it. But other than that, I would not have known. I literally would not have known because the day just goes by too fast. There's too much going on, and we're working on growing. So good problems versus bad problems. And one that's very, very important. You hear me talk about contributing a lot. This is a good problem. If you're part of fundraising, if you're just even part of it, whether you're a contributor or you're an organizer and you're committing time and trying to help funds or help raise funds, falling short of a fundraising goal versus not having anything to contribute back. Okay. Just think about the problems that you have, and I bet you could re-identify a lot of them as good problems. And the difference between a lot of them is just how we're looking at them. And we all do it, right? So what do we do with the bad problems? I don't know if you know who this is here. I took this off. It popped up on Facebook. He's called the Hardcore Closer. If you don't know who he is, you should go check him out. He's called the Hardcore Closer, Ryan Stewman. If you're not happy with where you are in life, get mad and fix it. It's okay to hate your situation. Just don't hate yourself. The right people understand how to use their bad problems as fuel. You get to a point, you've been putting up with your bad problems, you got the stuff going on, you're tired of struggling, you're tired of missing kids' games, you're tired of paying the bills and having negative $100 left in your bank account. You just get sick and tired of it. That's okay. Producers and winners get ticked off eventually when they know that they're capable of more. You're like this seed that hasn't put yourself in the right environment, that hasn't watered yourself to the extent that you need to, but you're a seed with all the potential, and eventually the day comes. And for some of you, that might be right now. For some of you, it might be in the future. And for some of you, hopefully you've already had that epiphany, but you get to the point where you're just like, I am freaking done with this. I'm done with this laundry list of bad problems. It's time for me to take them and use it as fuel to get my shit together. And that's kind of what this call is about. If you're not happy with where you are in life, get mad, fix it. Only you can do it. And it's okay to hate the situation. Just don't be so hard on yourself that you can't be productive and move forward, right? So I think a lot of you, that's going to relate with you. And I think a lot of you have already experienced this. And some of you might think that's a little harsh and you're not ready yet, or you don't have, enough bad problems, which is awesome. Good for you, right? So what I want to talk about, what you want to do is embrace problems. Be thankful for problems. They are literally opportunities. They're gifts for you to become a better person, to grow, to learn something new, to struggle, to fight. And I want you to begin to create your own problems instead of letting life create them for you. So whatever stage you're at, this vehicle should be creating very good problems for you, especially over time. Okay? It's so important that you learn to fight through the bad problems. They are not out of your control. They are in your control. It is up to you to do that. I put this on today, okay? The Ultra Spartan, okay? This is the hardest freaking thing I ever did. This is why I love mindset. This is why I do Spartan races. Every time one starts, I'm like, shit, why did I sign up? Here we go again. Not because I know it's gonna be physically hard, but because your mind, okay? This is I earned this shirt, is a 31.7-mile race in the Sierra Nevadas, 60 obstacles through the snow and light clothes, hard as shit, hardest thing I ever did. And it was because you got to have a strong mind. You got to know how to fight through the problems and the aches and pains and the hardships of life. You got to become a master at overcoming that kind of stuff and look at them as opportunities. Inventory. What bad problems do you currently have? If you'd stopped tonight and you sat down and you looked at all the excuses you made, there's probably a list of bad problems, of reasons why you aren't getting something done, why you can't get something done, why you don't have the results, why you're struggling financially, why this happened and that happened, okay? Take an inventory tonight and write down the bad problems that you currently have. Is it controlled or is it not controlled? Meaning, can you control the outcome of getting that bad problem off your list? Or can you even turn it into a good problem tonight via your perspective on how you're looking at it? So when you're really dialed in many cases, your goals are the next level of good problems that you want to have. I literally talk with my mentors about this stuff. What is the next set of problems that we want to create? And I encourage you to do that as well. Think about the good problems that you want to create in your life. And what is your return on solving those problems? Okay, so if you're going to invest time into a specific problem, what is your return on it? Is it going to cause you more problems by focusing on it? Is it going to be neutral and not get you ahead? Or is it going to create freedom? When you attack your good problems, obviously at the end of the day, you need to grow from it, and it needs to create freedom for you, not cause more problems. You can't be out of shape and eating a bag of Doritos, sitting on the couch saying, what's wrong? Why is my life? Why come everyone else is losing weight and I can't? And you perpetuate it into more problems because you're not doing shit about it. And then you've got neutral, meaning you're eating the same bag of Doritos, but when you're done, at least you go get on the elliptical, but it's a wash. And then you got people that really focus on their problems, really overcome their problems, and their return is they're free from those problems moving forward. There's so many problems that you can work on. So here's how I calculate my returns. I'm not going to get into that, so I want to keep going here. Cash flow. Cash flow. If you find yourself with a laundry list of bad problems that have to do with finances, cash flow solves financial problems. So residual income versus time. This is how I calculate everything. I look at how much time do I put into this versus how much residual income do I get back. And if you haven't done this already, I want you to think about where you're at in your life. If you got bad problems like I don't have that much time to do this, I'm struggling financially, I can barely make ends meet, so I can't chance, going all in on this. Well, I want you to think about where you're going to be in a year from now. Where are you going to be in 2 years from now? Are you going to be singing that same song and dance? Or are you going to be farther ahead? And if you haven't done the math, this is a really, really, really realistic chart here based on how many deals you get per month, 3, 5, or 10, at $100 in residual income per deal, where you could be in 12 months. And that's how I evaluate all the financial decisions that I make and where I invest my time. So there was actually a point right before cash discounting, before we knew about it and dove into it, where I started doing real estate investing, okay? And I signed up and I paid for this huge real estate package, because how do you learn something? You pay somebody that's already doing it and you just duplicate it. So that's how I do everything. So I did the same thing with real estate. Okay, so in 1 year, I did 37 finance deals, meaning every single one of them created cash flow. In that same year, I was still hitting President's Club with the company I was working with. This was before Easy Pay, and I was crushing it on the properties. I was still doing merchant services because you can't stop doing this. It's a math equation. You have to keep doing it. You got to be doing at least 100 deals a month if you're really serious about this. But I was crushing it on the real estate. And my point here is cash discounting came out. And I was like, well, I got to go test this out. So I went on a 2-week road trip. I saw what my return was in those 2 weeks. I think it was like $2,500 or something like that in 2 weeks. And I instantly stopped all my real estate stuff. Okay. My time with the real estate was nowhere close to giving me the return in cash flow that this was. So if you're finding yourself down here on the bottom and you got this job and you find yourself in the rat race, you're constantly trading time for money, that's a bad problem because you're just not getting ahead. You've got to find a way to turn this into a good problem and start creating results long term. Cash flow is the only thing they should be doing the scorecard on. That's it. So if you do what you've always done, then you'll get what you've always gotten, aka done by Tony Robbins here. If you find yourself just doing the same thing over and over again, folks, you're going to get the same result. So my question, because something that we're talking a lot about is we have this window of opportunity with cash discounting. It will not be going away in 2 years, but over the next 2 years, you have the opportunity that will never come back into this industry. The profits are higher than they will ever be again in this industry. People need your help more than they will ever need your help ever again in the future in this industry. It is a perfect storm. And I want you to get rid of the bad problems, the excuses, and all the reasons why you're not thriving in this business. Because what's going to change in the next 1 to 2 years if you hang on to those bad problems versus turn them into good problems and establish and create the good problems that you want? In 1 to 2 years, you're going to be struggling still, making excuses why you weren't able to do it 2 years ago, or are you going to be financially free when you look back and the dust settles? Are you still going to be like, I don't understand the industry, I don't understand everything, or are you going to be a professional in the business? Are you going to continue to have too many projects that you're working on, or are you going to laser focus on one thriving business? This is a huge one right here. We talk to so many people that got so many things going on. Folks, I'm telling you, I was crushing in real estate. I stopped immediately as soon as I saw the residual return. I said 2 weeks equals what in residual income? All right, stop everything. We're all in. Okay. When you find something that can launch your life and your scorecard, aka residual income, like what we are doing right now with the window of opportunity that we have right now, the dog that chases 2 squirrels catches none, is what I say. Laser in on one thing if you have a million projects going on. If it's not with us, if it's not merchant services, that's fine, but go focus on one thing so that you can do it 110%. Break your old bad problems. How do we get over being broke? Here's what I would suggest. If you're going out there and you're only able to put in 5 hours a week, if you're getting results, kudos to you. That's awesome. I know we've got things for people from doctors to pilots to people that have other businesses. If you can't go all in, that's fine. But if you can, what are you waiting for? You literally have a window of opportunity here that's going to absolutely change yourself, change your life, and give yourself a real shot at this business. You've got to maximize every single day. Every day that we're not out there working, every day that you went halfway, every day that you went home for lunch and didn't get back there in the field, that's time. There's time clicking off this window of opportunity called the cash discount program. And I highly encourage you to get with it and go all in on this while the getting is perfect. Okay. Don't and when we talk about residual income, we're talking about complete freedom. We're talking about you can step away. I had a great conversation. I have multiple conversations with business owners that kind of have residual income, but I did one today and he was talking about, he's making good money. He's making over 6 figures, but he has to do so much. And on the weekends, if they need him, then he has to be there to, do his aspect of the business. He's got a product that he literally has to do all of it for the customer. And to go on a cruise would be like a big problem. And if they needed him while he was gone, like, oh my gosh, it'd be a big issue. Okay, this is residual income. You could take off. You could not answer your phone. You could not answer an email, and the money will keep coming. So if you have a better vehicle that can grow faster, I'd like to know about it, because I do whatever the fastest route is, and this is it. The most realistic is the fastest growing. So what's next? So I want to talk just real quickly, just this one slide. Merchants are being primed all across the United States and most of rural America. They're all primed. They've heard about the cash discount. The ones that aren't already on it maybe said no 6 months ago or a year ago. And now, after what's happened in the last 18 months, people are in a completely different position, even the ones that said no. And on top of that, it's just becoming more normal, right? Every single new account that Easy Pay signs, that any company out there in the industry signs, we are all together helping each other make the cash discount program become more acceptable. We're going to reach, we're not there yet to where everyone's just like, why aren't I doing it? There's still those stragglers. We're going to come up on the stage. My prediction is like in the next 12 months, where it's just like, why aren't you? Everyone's doing it. It'll be fully accepted, and people will just be fish in a barrel, ready for you to walk in. It'll just be literally get to the right place at the right time, and you're going to have yourself a deal. That's why you want to be out planting the seeds now. So there are a lot of these people I'm talking about that aren't ready yet, that haven't got on cash discount program yet. They're just a couple of pain points away, whether that's a bad bill or a terminal breaks and they call into customer service and have a bad experience. They're just a couple of pain points away from remembering who, if you left some cards for people when they're ready for cash discount, they're going to know who to call. Or they don't keep people's business cards and you just happen to walk in at the right time, but you've got to be working to find those people. And this is what I'm talking about, over the next 1 to 2 years, we're going to reach a fish in a barrel stage, and you need to know your rebuttals. There's still time for you to really learn this industry before we reach those stages. And people will start understanding that this is the end game for the merchant sales cycle. Once people get on the cash discount program and they have a good rep who picks up the phone, they're with an honest company that's not locking them into contracts and leasing them terminals and sneaking in fees and pulling off all this wise stuff. Once they get with the right company, plus they're on cash discount, it's game over. They will never switch again, folks. This is your opportunity to go out there and lay your foundation. In 2 years, when you look back, you're going to still be struggling, or are you going to be financially free on a level with a secure foundation of merchants that like you, that won't leave, that aren't shopping around because there's no more rates anymore, and they're with you because they love the service that they're getting? Will you be in position to cash in on this cash discount wave is the question. So momentum, you hear people say things like, well, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, right? All that kind of stuff. Well, it's just success propels success. People that are successful are moving in the direction of success. They get momentum on their side, and they get things starting to fall in place for them. They're focused on good problems. They don't see bad problems. They just bulldoze through all these good problems that they have because they're actually eager to go after good problems. They want the problems. They want to grow, and they become more and more successful. And then you just get the snowball effect going it's because success propels more success. You got to get that momentum on your side. Another thing about champions and about winners is they understand yesterday's success doesn't mean anything today. Tom Brady's Super Bowl 10 years ago has nothing to do with the one that he won last year. The fact that he had already won 6 up to last year's Super Bowl did not mean anything about his guarantee to get a 7. He had to go do it again. And it's the same thing for us. Every single day that we wake up, we have to re-earn our success. Champions know this. Yes, you have some momentum from yesterday. Yes, from last month. Yes, from last year. You can get that momentum on your side, but that momentum does not do the work for you. Every day that we wake up, we have to re-earn it. We all start at 0 when we roll out of bed every single day. And that's where we need to be consistent. We need to continue getting results. And if we do that, time is going to do the rest. But you've got to start creating good problems in your life and start looking at bad problems in the right perspective. Or if they're a bad problem that you just have kind of out of your control, get through it the best that you can with the best mentality and mindset that you can. Something like a health, right? You got something health going on. There's only so much you can do. A lot of that's out of your control. But the truth is, most people are so focused on a laundry list of bad problems that they actually have a lot of control of. And just tonight, you could probably knock a lot of them off with the right attitude and mentality. So my question for you is, what will your future be when the cash discount program dust settles, when the fish in a barrel stage is over, and this whole industry turns into this really complex, technical, it's going to get a lot more technical. It certainly won't be about rates anymore. It's always going to be around. People will always switch. There's always new businesses opening up. There's always some company out there jacking people around so you can walk in and find someone upset. But when you're with the right company and you put people in a good position and they will never leave you again, you're going to have a thriving business. You will be that tall, big redwood tree. And folks, I hope that this has helped you look at some of the problems that you have in your life. And if you want to get help with getting this business off the ground, if you really want to get this thing growing, if you're serious about it, tomorrow night, I got a webinar where I'm going to go over my 1 rebuttal away challenge. Everything that you see there on the screen, you have access to for free, okay? You should already have. If I lost it all today, you have access to the training site. And on tomorrow night's call, for those that attend, I give out the How to Overcome Common Rebuttals, which is number 4 of the 5 Unbreakable Fundamentals. So if you want some additional help, if you're not already part of the 1 rebuttal away challenge, that call will be tomorrow night. Folks, I hope that you learned something. I hope that that helps you out. I hope that you really look at the things that you think are problems right now in your life, and you look at them from a new perspective and a new lens, and realize that many of them are good problems. And I encourage you to create good problems in your life, because that's what winners do. Folks, thank you for plugging into the Winner Circle. Have a great night. See you at the top.